Hello everyone, welcome to this quick demonstration of my own tape machine plugin combination of various different plugins, but pretty much limited to Acoustica, Nebula, Reaper's own plugins and some free ones. So this is primarily focusing on just getting the Nebula plugin to work well for your productions, so you can always bring it in, because a lot of people complain about the amount of time it takes to set up Nebula and the sort of headache that it is. But using Reaper's containers has proved to be amazing, really, in getting this thing to work with productions really well. So this is kind of mission behind that. Let's have a look at one other plugin. I'm just going to limit it to one other plugin. Let's go with Softube's tape. Because a lot of people know this one as a good tape machine plugin. So I just bring this in. That's the one I've got. This is my one that I've created out of the Nebula instances. So right now I'm using a really, really good track called Set Me Free. It's a jazzy track, and the band, they're really good. They're on cambridgemt.org or .com. I can't remember which one it is right now. Anyway, you'll find that they've got loads of good stuff on there. So let's just have a look at this track and see what Tape Machine can do to it.
Do you remember?
Just to demonstrate that this is working.
Fire in the veins, running together, and there will be no end to the spirit and flame.
Really wobbly. Sounds pretty nasty at this point. But that's not how people want to use it. Let's go to normal. And
born in a fever, the music in our heads was stronger than a chain. As we grew older, how much of that remained, how much has passed away.
definitely adds a little bit. Let's just try out the virtual tape machines by Slate Digital. Here we go. So this is an old favourite, and in order to get this one to work as intended, I suppose, you just have to make sure wow and flutter's at 100%, this is at 0% for noise reduction. Then you really get the idea of what this tape machine is doing. So, you know, there's the noise, there's the saturation.
Do you remember?
And we can change the various settings. So 15 IPS, 30 IPS. We've got the Fabrice Gabriel 456, which is the MPEX tape, and FG9. I've forgotten which one it is, but it's a modern one. And you can change various other parameters and go into here to do some extra stuff like bass alignment, because this can add some bass. And you've got grouping features, which is good. Cool, they're nice. So they're quite easy to use, and they're quite ubiquitous. But let's have a look at the one I've created, which is using Nebula, because Nebula is arguably really good when it comes to trying to emulate analog equipment. It has a lot of issues, though, with how it's usable. Sometimes you get really good Nebula instances which are really quick. You can quickly and easy throw them in, but not this one. What I found, because we've got tape saturation, and you can see here this is the Tim Petherick T tape, which actually emulates a Nagra T tape machine, which isn't covered by either of those tape machine plugins you just saw. So this is what it looks like. It's amazing. It is really incredible. The sound you get from this thing on this YouTube video I screenshotted this from was amazing. It was absolutely fantastic. It's quite a revered tape machine from Switzerland from 1981 till I think it was 1997, something along those lines. Maybe got it mixed up, but it's a really good tape machine, and I wanted to kind of try and get that sound onto this track. So now I can't really go into too much detail because this is going to take too long. But I've got the ability now to do pre and post effects bypass, which has been level matched. This was brought up in a previous video that proper level matching wasn't being used, so now it's included within the plugin. So using this TB Pro Audio leveling source matching plugin, I can now just match it with this pre-filter thing. So let's just see this in action. The first macro which I've created, you can just simply create your own macros. It's not too difficult. Again, though, I'm not sure how much I could go into this, but you just go and edit, and I'll just make sure the sliders go up by odd numbers. You can, say what the starting number is, what's the lowest amount, what's the highest amount, what's the increment. So this was, and then you can even write in a drop-down menu if you really want. So these are kind of the sliders. So 0 to -16, 16 is bit shift gain, stage input, that kind of stuff. So it took me a little while to figure out that, but that one, goes to -16, +16, 0 in the middle. So, and then these were 0 to 1, but I changed them to actually be nice little drop downs. So I can control all of these different plugins through this. And I don't know if you've tried this before, but when you go to these containers, you can't dive into the containers. You have to use MIDI controls. So with some of these are controlled via MIDI. So incredibly, this is a much bigger MIDI controller than Reaper's standard one, which has only 5 MIDI numbers you can actually control. This has got 16. This is by Jeremy Bernstein. It's a free alternative to the MIDI control, basically. So I've added all these, and in my macros here, if it's a MIDI control, I've just said M1, for instance. So, and then M2, M3, M4, etc. So any of those basic control plugins within the containers. So one of these, it is it's this one. It controls 4 things. 7.5 IPS or 15 IPS. To get the tape hiss, I went ahead and used this plugin, the Loop Sampler plugin by Reaper, which allows you just to record a loop and then loop it forever underneath. And this is great because now I've got the tape hiss that came with this plugin from Tim Petherick, and it's playing in stereo, and it's not syncing in stereo because I've changed these slightly, these parameters, so they don't all loop exactly the same. And now I can switch them all off and on. Let me just show you that actually in action. I think this is pretty cool, this part. So if I change it to 7.5 IPS, you can see that the bypass comes off, and I can actually show you this. If I just go ahead and turn this up. Oh yeah, sometimes it doesn't come on immediately. Bit of annoying, bit of a nuisance, but it'll come on later on. Anyway, it bypasses it, puts it back on, bypasses it, puts it back on, etc. So this also works on this one, which is the IPS control there, and it's on both channels. Yeah. When it comes to the reason I've got it doing both channels is because Nebula unfortunately only has a mono envelope controller when it comes to the compression side of things, and you can also get a bit more control of each of the channels, so you don't want exactly the same one put across stereo channels. So in order to do that, you can change the VST3 bus size from 2 to 1, which is amazing. I didn't realize you could do that until the other day with Reaper. So you can now have mono versions of your plugins. I mean, that is quite incredible, because that has been a big complaint for people for years. If I just quickly show you that in action. So let's say 9000J or something, this one. So a lot of people all over forums are complaining that yes, this is in stereo, and but now what we can do is just go ahead and bring this over and just change this to 1, and it changes it to mono. Fantastic. Does this actually help? Yes, it does. It makes it a little bit more CPU efficient, but it's quite negligible. I've measured it out, and it was sometimes 25%, but most of the time it's not. But this is really good now for Reaper users, and yeah, it's terrific. It's kind of helped us out a lot. But you do your measurements, see how it comes out. With Nebula, you do save a little bit, but not too much. So it's not a huge deal. Okay, let's carry on. I want to get through this, but let's just try and listen to this in action. I won't explain every single parameter. I don't think I can in this amount of time. Let's just have a listen. So let's go with pre first. Sorry, that's why it wasn't working earlier. I had it in pre, which means that the gain staging for the tape isn't working. So let's have a look at the hiss now. So if I change it to 7.5, you can hear that it changes the sound. That's just unfortunately what happens sometimes. So yeah, I mean, the reason I've got this pre and post is so I can listen to a game matched. So this is game match pre and post bypass. Fantastic, isn't it? So this is with the tape machine engaged.
Do you remember the power in our hands, the fire in our veins?
So that's bit shift gained input.
And there will be no end to the spirit and the flame.
So flutter doesn't seem to be working. Anyway, now that's fixed. Let's go and have a look. The print amount is the only thing I want to go over, and it's this. So in my notes, I've said the print amount, you don't want it more than 0.5 or the max 0.9, and it's sort of emulating the accidental transfer of signal to more tape. So sometimes you can get a bit of duplication on these tape signals. So yeah, I don't really want too much, and Tim P has sort of made it possible that you can make it a lot. You know, he says you can take up to crazy amounts. So I've taken it up to 9 as a maximum, and that just gives us a subtle subliminal amount. That's all we really need. So let's try and actually make this sound better with tape, and it always does that at the beginning because of this pre and post thing.
Do you remember the power in our hands, the fire in our veins, running together?
I think the tape is also a
There
mistake.
will be no end to the spirit and the flame.
There we go. That is the tape in action. So I think it's pretty good. It works well for getting a certain tone, and it's a personal kind of created plugin, really. So let's just try again. Just gonna go with pre again.
Running together, and there will be no end to the spirit.
So 7.5 ips, let's have a look at that. So this would be badly done tape, essentially. Let's just push that up a bit and the drive. And then we put the threshold down a bit.
The music in our heads was stronger than a chain.
So that's a really obvious
As
tape
we
effect.
grew older,
Flutter probably a bit more.
a match that remained, a match has passed away.
Very murky now. And then we got decent tape.
Oh,
Oopsie. Does that occasionally if you do this. Let's just try again. Yeah, this is better now. Let's just take auto gain off. So there we go. That is the Tape Machine plugin, and this is, you can have a listen to it online and try and match it yourself. But that's a very hard to kind of, it was quite difficult to kind of get this working really well, and I do think the MIDI control might have an issue. So I will be looking at the re-MIDI control instead, which looks like this. Re-control MIDI. So this is what that looks like, and as you can see, it has 5 of these, and you can say raw or not raw mode, which is basically these MIDIs added together essentially. So the MIDI CC numbers, so constant controllers. So there you have it. You only get 5 of those, so maybe I'll just do one after the other, and then that should be a bit more stable. Wow, what a crazy thing, but that is now saved and ready to go for next time. I do need to take away the flutter amount because it appears twice, and this one, the BSG Tape Hiss M1, let me just double check what that one was. Breath control. Hard to say exactly what that was, to be honest, but yeah, I'll take that away in the next one. All right, everyone, thank you very much for tuning into this tutorial. This is me signing off. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.